Good evening, everybody. All attendees, respected attendees. Sorry for the technical issue in the previous previous presentation. So we will meet again. We meet again and to present our topic. Previously, I said that I'm Dr. Hossam Elshenraki, Associate Professor in Dubai Police Academy. Our topic will be cyber fraud crimes in the age of COVID-19. So, cyber fraud crimes in the age of COVID-19. What is cyber fraud? Cyber fraud is the term refers to someone using internet services or software to defraud or take advantage of victims, typically for financial gain. Cyber fraudulent use the internet to rip off unsuspecting victims. Cyber fraud comes in many forms. Such not all. What we will talk about is not all forms. It's some of these forms or the famous one. Emails that attempt to trick a victim into handing our financial information. The second one, pop-ups loaded with malware. The third one, social media messages crafted to speak fake romantic relationships, and this is called the romance fraud or romance scam, something like that. And this is a strategy. It's depending on deceive women to make a relationship with someone, and he tried to attract her to make a good relationship or friendship, something like that. And they targeted mostly the old women over 50 and go on. Pretending that the fraudulent can force lover boy to come back to the victim. It's using pretending to use magic, that he is using magic to attract or force the lover boy to come to his girl to marry her or something like that. And this type of fraud is very famous, and you can find it under the title Arabic title Galb al Habib online on Google trend. You will find the trend is very high in Arab countries, and it's in the other countries available, but it's not high like Arab countries. So, collecting sensitive information by hacking or deceiving the victim to deliver it, and this come in many shapes. So, I will take it as an overview. We will come to cyber fraud strategy, the strategy of the criminal. Cyber fraudulent contact victims through email accounts, social networks, dating apps, or other methods to obtain financial and personal information. And cyber fraud have similar endings. Victim lose their money or fail to receive funds the fraudster promised. So the criminal or the offender promise the victim to give him money or give him some facilities, give him some authorization to something. Then he will get the money and then he will disappear. Cyber fraud types during COVID-19. This is our main idea. Cyber fraud activities during COVID-19, according to the Interpol Regional Working Groups on Cybercrime, the key findings on cybercrime landscape in relation to COVID-19 pandemic are as follows. Number one, online fraud and phishing. Seizing the pandemic as an opportunity to give their attacks chance to success, threat actors revised their usual online fraud and phishing themes. By developing COVID-19 themed phishing email, often impersonating government and health authorities. Fraudulent entice victim into providing their personal data and downloading malicious content. A significant use of COVID-19 themes for phishing and online fraud reported since January 2020. 9,007 messages linked to COVID-19 detected, taking advantage of the economic downturn and people's anxiety during the pandemic. This is from the beginning of pandemic from March 2020 till the end of 2020, and this was the high statistics or high numbers of the bad use of the internet or the bad use of the social media, especially. Cyber criminals enhanced their social engineering tactics by using COVID-19 as a basis in their attacks. Organized crime groups also changed their tactics to exploit pandemic updates and supply strategies, as well as advertising fake medications, facial packages, and emergency benefits. A large proportion of incidents reported to police involved threat actors deployed COVID-19 themes, phishing emails to solicit user credentials and passwords. These emails impersonate official government and healthcare authorities claiming to provide information and recommendations regarding the pandemic. Kaspersky highlighted threat actors using a COVID-19 tax rebate to lure recipient into browsing a fraudulent website that collects financial and tax information from unsuspecting users. Phishing emails sent from ministers of health or WHO, the World Health Organization, contain malicious attachments which exploit vulnerabilities to run malicious code. Malware such as Emotet, and this was the famous 3 or 4 attacks names, Emotet and Trickbot and Kerberos, designed specifically for information theft and widely used in phishing emails. Number 2, business email compromise. Business email compromise continues to be the theme of choice for many threat actors. Tactics adapted to COVID-19 context, spoofing supplier and client email addresses, or using nearly identical email addresses to conduct attacks. Let me open the okay. So the extreme need for essential supplies and healthcare products provides an ideal scenario for criminals to harvest details or divert millions of dollars of procurement funds into criminal accounts. Top COVID-19 phishing themes include email from national or global health authorities, government orders and financial support initiatives, fake payment requests and money reimbursement, offers of vaccine and medical supplies, COVID-19 tracking apps for mobile phones, investments and stock offers, COVID-19 related charity and donation requests. Number 3, disruptive malware, ransomware, or DDoS attacks. Cybercriminals increasingly using disruptive malware against critical infrastructure and healthcare institutions due to financial benefit, such as what happened in Malaysia while the beginning of COVID, and they attacked the healthcare database, and they encrypted all databases of the patients and the cures and everything, and even the Interpol support the government to try to solve the problem, and finally they paid for the attackers or for the criminals, and it recorded as the worst attack in the pandemic. Such attacks can result in regular disruptions or a total shutdown of business operations, as well as a temporary or permanent loss of critical information. And that's what happened, as I said, in the healthcare database in Malaysia. Malware attacks increasing in quantity and evolving in choice of targets. Most of them focus on disruptive malware campaigns shifted from individuals and small businesses to government agencies, and also healthcare sector, where higher financial demands can be made. The CESIS malware attacks intend to make data impossible or disrupt the system, um, ex, uh, ex, uh, extracting an already dire situation. The top ransomware families are Serper, Networker, and Ryuk, evolving to maximize the potential damage of a single attack as well as the financial profit for its perpetrators. The DDoS attacks grow in size, aiming to disrupt the operation of various organizations and critical services. By overcharging online service portals with more traffic than the server or network can handle, cybercriminals threaten to take down targeted websites unless a money transfer is made to their accounts. And I think this is the regular way of working for the cyber attack with ransomware criminals. The eventual impact of ransomware and DDoS attacks varies and may include disruption of operations, locking of critical systems, and losses due to downtime and restoration of systems and files. Number four, data harvesting malware. Using COVID-19 related information as a lure, threat actors infiltrate systems to compromise networks and steal data and divert money and build botnets. Threat actors deceive users to execute malware such as remote access Trojans, information stealers, spyware, and banking Trojans to compromise networks, harvest data, divert money, and build botnets. This delivery of malicious executables is extensively facilitated through COVID-19 phishing companies. Alternatively, is observed that the malware is delivered through embedded links in interactive coronavirus maps, thematic applications, and fraudulent websites. One of the most distinctive examples of data harvesting malware indicated by private partners in Emotet partners. There is many private partners for the Interpol and Europol and the international organization which working on detecting crimes, especially cyber crimes, which raised in during the pandemic, and the Interpol and the Europol made a very good report and very good studies on that issue. Its proliferation significantly increased since the beginning of the pandemic, and we will see that some statistics will show us how it is raised. Researchers from IPM, X-Force researchers, detected an emotet Trojan in Japan, which used by cybercriminals who impersonated disability welfare service providers. In their phishing email, threat actors enticed victims to open attachments which claimed to contain COVID-19 prevention measures but infected with emotet. Many people fell for this as the messages seemed to come from official email of service provider and appeared to have a legitimate address and phone number. Kaspersky Threads researchers discovered that the emotet Trojan is usually sent in PDF, MP4, and document formats as an attachment uh, to emails that claim to contain useful information on coronavirus, including its latest updates, protecting measures, and detecting methods. These attacks were successfully as fraudulent choose the right moment to spread the malware when people feel anxious and insecure. As a result, a significant amount of personal data stolen in those months, impacting 13% of organizations globally. Motet, Emotet is the most prominent data harvesting malware families in January 2020. Trackput is another example of data harvesting malware intensified due to the pandemic and identified as the most prolific malware used in combination with COVID-19 use and link it to more phishing emails than any other since the beginning of the pandemic. It also believed to victims that as an attachment in email from a fake non-profit offering free COVID-19 tests. Number 5, malicious domains. Interpol, also Cybercrime Directorate, Global Malicious Domain Task Force identified. This is a department or committee related to the Interpol, identified and analyzed 200,000 malicious domains affecting more than 80 member countries. 80 countries affected by 200,000 malicious domains. Taking advantage of the increased demand for medical supplies and information on COVID-19. A lot of cybercriminal registered domain names that contain related keywords, such as coronavirus or COVID. These fraudulent websites underpin a wide variety of malicious activities, including C2 servers, malware deployment, and phishing. A growing influx of newly registered domains with COVID and Corona keywords. Similar to COVID-19 themes, phishing campaigns, a high percentage of domains that claim to provide COVID-19 updates. Tracking systems or statistics used for a wide variety of malicious activities, exploiting the public's thirst for information during the pandemic. As of the end of March 2020, 1,357 COVID-19 registered domain detected. They detected by the end of March, from January to the end of March, this number of registered domains called or carrying the name COVID-19, or there is a chapter of the or a piece of the title, or piece of the main title is COVID-19 included, out of which 2022 identified as malicious and 40,261 as high risk in June 2020. From February to March 2020, 569% growth detected in malicious registrations, including malware and phishing, and a 788% growth in high-risk registrations, including scams, unauthorized coin mining, and domains that have evidence of association with malicious URLs. The hike in registrations followed the peak of user interest in COVID-19 related topics caught in Google Trends with a few days of delay. Further feedback received from law enforcement agencies highlighted that certain malicious websites created to mimic official public services, including government portals, telecommunications companies, banks, national tax, and customs authorities. Extra. The trend showcased through exploitation of national initiative to provide rapid financial support for self-employed and small businesses. To receive assistance, businesses required to apply via an official government website. Cybercriminals copied these websites and deployed fake applications to harvest personal user data received from applicants. The increasing in the fraudulent websites, which exploited recent surge in demand for surgical masks, personal protective equipment, coronavirus test kits, and medical ventilators to host elect trade in key supplies. The tactics of websites owners differ and include copying a legitimate site, selling unlicensed items, or counterfeit goods, or taking payment for the items without delivering them. Moreover, there exists a challenge when money paid by victims of illegal trade sent to overseas bank accounts, which creates difficulties in crime attribution and recovery of financial loss. Number six, misinformation. An increasing amount of misinformation and fake news is spreading rapidly among the public, fueled by the uncertain social and economic situation in the world. Unverified information, inadequately understood threats, and conspiracy theories contributed to anxiety in communities and in some cases facilitated the execution of cyber attacks. In February 2020, the WHO announced that COVID-19 was accompanied by an infodemic of misinformation. The UN agency warned that misinformation about the pandemic presented a serious risk that is similarly dangerous uh, as the virus itself, the virus itself. The following identified as the most common COVID-19 related topics appearing in the search of fake news and misinformation. Public authority action. This is the titles of the fake topics. Community spread, general medical news, prominent actors, conspiracy theories, virus transmission, public perpetration of preparedness, vaccine development. Cyber fraud statistics during COVID-19. This is some statistics about the cyber fraud numbers which raised during the pandemic or from the beginning of the pandemic. Cyber threats in the age of COVID-19, we can see in general, malicious domains, 22% increase. Malware, ransomware, 36% raised with 36%. This statistics is coming from the Interpol. Phishing, scam, and fraud, 59%. Fake news, 14%. Also, ransomware and phishing attempts detected in the quarter two, the quarter number two increased by 64% over the quarter number one, the three beginning January, February, March. So the next 3 months is increased with 64% of 2020. This was more pronounced in the banking industry that saw these threats increase by 5 to 0% between March and June. So it increased from March to June in 3 months with 5 to 0%. All of the industry verticals that Arctic Wolf Protects have experienced an account takeover incident this year. And since March 2020, the volume of account takeover incidents has increased by 4 to 9%. Since March also, the number of devices connecting to open Wi-Fi networks increased by 243% without proper controls in place. Geographically dispersed workforces face increased risks of attacks of unsecured networks. So 47% of individuals fall for phishing scam while working at home. The increase in remote working calls for a greater focus on cybersecurity because, just a second. Okay, because of the greater exposure of cyber risk. This is apparent, for example, from the fact that 47% of individuals, as we said, fall off phishing while working at home. Fraudulent see the pandemic as an opportunity to step up their criminal activities by exploiting the vulnerability of employees working from home and capitalizing on people's strong interest in coronavirus related news. Another important consideration is that the average cost of data breach resulting from remote working can be as much as one $137,000 in that period of time. On July 8th, the City of London police reported that since January 2020, more than 11 million have been lost due to COVID-19 scams. In Switzerland, one of 7 respondents to a survey had experienced a cyber attack during the pandemic period. So 1 to 7 received an cyber attack. Over 500,000 between February and May 2020 globally were affected by breaches in which the personal data of video conferencing users was stolen and sold on the dark web. So there were a lot of meeting, a lot of confidential meeting, a lot of educational meeting, a lot of work meeting coming occurred by Zoom or by the other platforms which built for support the transforming to the digitalization. Because of the pandemic, nobody can meet anybody, so they working from home or they working in from separate places. So the attacks reported or detected is more than 500,000 people, their personal data sold on the deep web. The changing nature of cyber attacks before the pandemic, 20%, during the pandemic, 35%. So this is according to the FBI Internet Crime Complaints soared in 2020. So we can see that in 2019, 467,000 and 361,000 compare with 790, almost the double of the crimes. And it focused on scamming or fraud online. 27% of participating countries in the global cybercrime survey confirmed the circulation of false information related to COVID-19 among their communities, and 21% expressed a growing concern in this trend. Within the 1 month period, one member country reported 290 posting, and in most cases, these postings contained concealed malware. In the information shared through social media and contained false claims, rumors, and speculation on the continuously evolving COVID-19 situation. Some law enforcement authorities that participated in the survey reported that misinformation in their countries linked to the illegal trade of fraudulent medical commodities. Some countries expressed concerns that misinformation propagating communal panic and social disorders already exacerbated due to the pandemic. Police reported cases of false information disseminated online relating to the number of infected individuals and emergence of the virus in unaffected areas. And other cases of misinformation involved scams via mobile text messages containing too good to be true. This expression is contained in these messages, offers such as free goods, special benefits, or large discounts in supermarkets. Police believe most of these messages circulated in communities are to create and exploit mass gatherings of people. A 64% increase in COVID-19 increasing of security operation challenges. So detected 64% increase in phishing and ransomware attempts. Critical vulnerability patch time increased by 40 days. A combination of higher common vulnerabilities and exposures volumes, more critical CVs, and the emergence of a remote workforce slowed the patching programs at many organizations. Unsecured Wi-Fi using it up by over, as we said before in the statistics. Sources is coming again. Security incidents, the sharp increase in corporate credential leaks underscores the need for organizations to have dedicated 24/7 monitoring of their network, endpoint, and cloud environments in order to prevent targeted attacks that could happen at any time. 35% of the high-risk security incidents occur between the hours 8 p.m. and 8 a.m., so during the night, and 14% occur on weekends, times when many in-house security teams and not online. The cybersecurity industry has an effectiveness problem. Every year, new technologies, vendors, and solutions emerge. Yet, despite this constant innovation, much preaches in the headline. Google blocked scams email. Scammers are sending 18 million hoax email about COVID-19 to Gmail users every day. This is what Google detected. According to Google, the pandemic has led to an explosion of phishing attacks in which criminals try to trick users into revealing personal data. Google blocked more than 100 million phishing emails a day. Almost a fifth were scam emails related to coronavirus. Fifth of the 100 million is related to coronavirus. Google's Gmail is used by 1.5 billion people. Cases during COVID-19. We have case in Dubai, and we will discuss also the case which happened recently in Egypt. The fox hunter, Ramon Abbas, is famous person on the social media and has 2.5 million Instagram followers. On social media, he posted a video of himself tossing wads of cash like confetti. He told his followers he was a real estate developer. That's what he pretended to do. But actually, we will see what's his job and his gang. Federal affidavit alleged his extravagant lifestyle was financed through hacking themes that stole millions of dollars from major companies in the United States and Europe. Abbas sent a co-conspirator an image of the wire transfer confirmation for the transaction. He and unnamed person also conspired to launder $14.7 million from the foreign financial institution last year. It means last year, it means 2020. According to the criminal complaint, during that alleged cybercrime, Abbas sent a co-conspirator the account information for a Romanian bank account, which he said could be used for large amounts. In other alleged themes, he also provided Dubai bank accounts that can be used to deposit money from victims in the United States. He is also accused of conspiring to try to steal $124 million from an unnamed English Premier League soccer club. But it's unclear whether the attempt was successful. FBI recorded 1.7 billion in losses from such scams. Business email compromise themes are sophisticated scams that involve a hacker redirecting business email account communications to try and intercept wire transfers. PAC themes are one of the most difficult cyber crimes encountered, as they typically involve a coordinated group of con artists scattered around the world who have experience with computer hacking and exploitation the international financial system. Cases in Egypt, we will discuss about it. I put it in my presentation to put spot on how they do this crime. So it's a traditional way of fraud, but because of this is new in Egypt, that we are dealing with online banking, and we are dealing with technology with our accounts, our bank accounts. So many people fall in this all the trick. The trick, let's summarize it. According to the authorities, the criminals got the information, and this is the what we have to put lines under it. They got the information which allowed, or which available for many people. Maybe on they didn't say if they got it from the deep web or got it from someone inside the banking system. I don't know. So the investigation will find out how the criminals get the information, but it's available online in many websites, especially in the dark web. A lot of personal data for people is available, especially credit cards, and we are not aware how to use our credit cards in our country. Many people I saw with my own eyes, they ask someone to activate their credit card in the bank. Uh, Old women, old men, they cannot understand the technology, so they ask someone to help them to put the PIN code to activate his card. So, what problem? Everybody can know the digital number, or the 16 number on the credit, and he get the credit in his hand. I can see the PIN, and he can see the CVV. So if we put it online and he try to buy, only the authentication or something will come to the telephone of the victim, and then he might call him and find out what is the number. He ask him the number for, he is a banker or something like that. He pretending. This is a social engineering way. This is a traditional way. So they committed their crimes. Let's summarize the crimes. This is the way, as I know of committed this crime, which was big, and a lot of money lost from people because of not aware of the security measures of using the credit cards, and this is what we should focus on it. recently committed by 7 criminals specialized in defrauding citizens and seizing credit data mobile companies and deceiving the victim of a winning financial prize or customer service employee of different banks and asking them for credit card numbers on the pretext of updating their data. Several employees in government agencies and deluding them into dispersing money to them under the pretext of combating the coronavirus. Through this, they were able to seize the data of the credit cards of victim and make transfers of their balances to money, email, financial wallets of mobile companies operating in Egypt. And made their value and seizing them to avoid tracking them. 5 of the criminals arrested, 11 mobile phones seized by the police, and 35 purchase invoices attributed to several stores, stating that the accused purchased mobile phones with a value of 200,000 pounds. E-point of sale unit device used in e-payments, gold jewelry, new mobile phones, watches from their criminal activities, credit cards. By examining a number of cell phones seized from their possession, it was found that they contained evidence confirming their criminal activity. The accused committed 40 incidents in the aforementioned criminal manner, through which they seized 500,000 Egyptian pound during July and August 2021 from their victims. Conclusion: comprehensive social distancing measures are now in place around the world. This led to a significant increase in the use of online communication by public authorities, businesses, and individuals alike. Technology at the scale. This presented a large, attractive, and vulnerable target set for cyber scammers or fraudulents to exploit. Combined with remote working and schooling, there are more internet users who are less knowledgeable of threats and are likely to take more risks whilst online at home than they would at work or school. Cybercriminals are increasingly playing on people's fear of the COVID-19 virus, offering fake cures for sale on the internet and defrauding through the sale of non-existent hand sanitizer and medical personal protective equipment, medicines, or hygiene products. Other frauds include the offer of services such as unsound investment advice and incorrect medical advice and diagnosis. diagnosis. One major online pornography site offered free subscription to users from one country, thus increasing the risk of malware downloading and sextortion. Senior citizens who are often less sensitized to online risks are explicitly profiled and targeted by cybercriminals to download and forward ransomware infected links through COVID-19 spam emails and spread disinformation amongst friends and family. Cybercriminals continue to seek to extort by claiming to know and reveal the victim's alleged use of online pornography. Business email compromise, phishing, compromised email accounts which pretend to be a senior official in the target organization continues to use social engineering enhanced by the added urgency of the pandemic to encourage the movement of funds to a criminal bank. foreign exchange or cryptocurrency account, or is used to obtain sensitive data for malicious and including espionage. Darknet forums continue to sell compromised data, including that of high-profile officials and celebrities. Criminals new to cybercrime are seeking advice from others on how to best exploit the COVID-19 pandemic for benefit. Some cybercriminals have thought to dissuade other cybercriminals from targeting hospitals and vaccine testing laboratories from distributed denial of service (DDoS) and ransomware attacks. Advanced persistent threat groups continue to evolve and exploit the pandemic. APTs continue to target critical national infrastructure, including hospitals and vaccine development labs with malware, ransomware, and DDoS attacks, as we said, what happened in Malaysia. The motivation behind such attacks is not simply profit-based, and malware often provides access to login credentials and other sensitive information of intelligence value. The success of much of COVID-19 related cyber criminality relies upon email phishing attacks as the initial vector of infection. When people click on a link or a document, the account is compromised. The compromise may be visible to victim, but the compromise is convert and enabled the criminal to establish and maintain long-term access to the account, organization, and associated IT. In addition to gathering sensitive information, the APT actor can deface websites, change the detail of documents, delete data, and disseminate misinformation and disinformation. In many countries, specialist counter cybercrime law enforcement personnel have been diverted from investigating cybercrime offenses to supporting government measures such as quarantine enforcement agents against the COVID-19 outbreak. Specialist officials have also become ill. Investigative and judicial procedures disputed by the need to conduct these activities in person, which is not possible due to local public health measures. Other countries rapidly moved to online judicial operations. How can you increase cybersecurity? Employees working from home and using their personal computer should implement essential cyber hygiene practices. These include antivirus protection, cybersecurity awareness, phishing awareness, home network security, using VPN, identify weak spots, apply new technology and tools, intelligence techniques, risk management, prepare for attacks, zero trust for anything coming by the internet. Lessons we should learn. This pandemic taught us that preparation is key to successfully limiting the risks related to cyber attacks. The ability to quickly react to unforeseen events helps reduce the impact of cyber attack. Companies that already benefits from secure remote working capabilities will be better prepared to face the continuous increase of cyber threats. Companies that were caught off guard will have to quickly assess their exposure to cyber threats and prioritize initiatives to address their cybersecurity gaps with recommended practice. In addition, corporate-owned devices should be the standard for companies allowing remote access to confidential and sensitive data. When it is acceptable to access corporate data from a personal device, cyber risks should also be assessed and actioned, and actions should be taken to limit cyber threat exposure. This is my presentation. I want to deliver some information to you. I hope that it delivered to you. I hope that I'm not was very fast, and I delivered the information. I think that you can revise with the presentation again on the website of the conference. Thank you very much for listening, and